All right, let's talk about influence. And I don't mean just the basics of public speaking. We're going to go deeper. We're moving way beyond just how to talk and into the real strategy of how to build something that actually lasts.
You know that feeling, right? You're in a meeting, you've got this brilliant idea, you lay it all out, and it just falls flat. Crickets. It's so frustrating. And then maybe 5 minutes later, someone else says basically the exact same thing, and suddenly everyone thinks it's genius. Well, here's the thing. The problem probably isn't your idea. It's your positioning. A great idea is only ever half the battle. The other half, and you could argue it's the more important half, is how you frame it, how you set it up. This is the difference between being heard and being ignored. Think of it like this. Real influence, it isn't magic. It's not something you just look into. It's something you design. It's something you build intentionally. Just like an architect doesn't accidentally create a skyscraper, you can learn to architect your own influence. It really is a skill you can master. So what do we actually mean by positioning? Well, it's the art of deliberately shaping every single part of your communication. Your message, your delivery, even your physical presence, all to get the biggest possible impact. It's about being strategic instead of just, winging it and hoping for the best.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? The good news is the framework is pretty simple. It all comes down to what we'll call the 3 M's persuasion. This is your practical toolkit for building real influence.
First up is manner. This is all about how you show up. It's the energy you bring into a room. Think about it. Your tone of voice, your confidence, your body language. All those nonverbal cues you're sending, a lot of the time they're shouting way louder than the actual words you're saying.
Next, we've got matter. This is the what. It's the substance of your message. You can have all the confidence and charisma in the world, but if your core argument is weak, if it's full of holes, it's going to fall apart the second someone pokes at it. This is all about having solid logic and real evidence.
And finally, there's method. This is the architecture of your argument itself. How do you structure it? How do you organize your points? Do you lead with your strongest point or do you build up to it? The way you sequence everything can be the difference between a clear, compelling case and just a confusing mess. Now, here's why this is so important. These 3 things have to work together as a system. You can't just be good at one. Having incredible content that's great matter is useless if your manner is unconvincing or your method is all over the place. They're like the 3 legs of a stool. You need all 3, or the whole thing just tips over. But here's the next level. Mastering these 3 M's isn't about following some rigid cookie-cutter formula. No way. The real power, the art of it, comes from knowing how to adapt, because influence is absolutely not one size fits all.
Let's go back to our architect. A great architect would never use the same blueprint for a beach house that they'd use for a skyscraper, right? Of course not. The design has to fit the environment, the landscape, and it's the exact same for you. Your approach has to adapt to the landscape of your audience. And that means you have to do 2 key things before you even open your mouth. First, you've got to analyze your audience. Who are you talking to? What do they actually care about? What do they already believe? And second, you have to assess yourself. What's your natural style? Are you a storyteller, a data person? Play to your strengths. So let's bring this all home. It's time to take this from theory and turn it into a practical blueprint you can actually use to start architecting your influence, like right now. And it boils down to this simple 4-step process. First, define. Get crystal clear on what you're trying to achieve. Second, analyze. Look at your audience and look at yourself. Third, calibrate. Based on that analysis, you intentionally choose your manner, matter, and method. And finally, deliver. You execute that plan with purpose. I want you to remember this. Look, anyone can stand up and present an idea, but building something that lasts, creating real, lasting influence, that takes design. That requires you to be the architect, not just the messenger. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Now that you've got the blueprint, you've got the tools, and you have this mindset of an architect, what are you going to build?